Wala na.
Nagpalista po si si General Honorable Roman. But it seems that
Lumabas. Ayan.
dito po. So the next interpolator is Congresswoman Generaldine Roman.
Ay.
Kabayan. Hindi ko naman kayo interview. Magandang hapon po, Mr. Chair, ang aking mga kasamahan sa Kongreso at ang ating mga resource person. Today, we are celebrating the 4th TRICOM meeting, whose aim is to eventually eradicate fake news by means of state regulation. What have we established in these past 4 meetings? What has become obvious to all of us is that the different social media platforms lack a uniform regulation that would require them to, number one, establish a legal entity in our country. Ito po yung kadahilanan kung bakit ang ilang social media platforms po natin ay walang physical presence sa ating bansa. Wala rin po tayong isang regulation kung saan nasasaad na ang kanilang perang kinikita ay dinedeclare o binabayaran ng corresponding tax. Pero hindi ko na po panghihimasukan yan sapagkat yung aspekto ng taxation ay beyond our objective here in the TRICOM. Also, we do not have a regulation that will actually establish the duties and obligations of the different social media platforms in relation to the other stakeholders, such as the content creators. Paano po ba ang relasyon ng mga social media platforms sa content creators? Also to the advertisers, digital advertisers. Also to the government itself. It is this void that I think that our committee can be most useful to regulate the social media platforms. I know I am thinking ahead, but this is how we work. We look at the problem, analyze it, while toying with the possible solutions that come up from different members. So we can regulate social media platforms. But to actually regulate the area of content creation is potentially and most probably unconstitutional. In my research, I have discovered that any kind of state regulation over content creation should pass the strict scrutiny test that will be actually applied by the Supreme Court or any corresponding court if the constitutionality of this state regulation is questioned. So from a pragmatic point of view, mas mabuti pa sa puntong pa lang ito, alam na natin kung ano ang haharapin kung tayo ay magkakaroon ng state regulation over content creation. Why? Because content creation is the expression of our fundamental right to free speech. And this is guaranteed by the Constitution. We cannot regulate opinions. We cannot regulate how and what content creators should produce. But we can regulate social media platforms by empowering them and requiring them to act as gatekeepers by establishing guardrails. To give you an idea kung ano po ang magiging problema kung tayo ay magre-regulate ng content creation, ay yun ho, mangyayari, magdedemanda to, question sa Supreme Court, at by default, actually, it will be considered as unconstitutional. Dahil automatically, we are dealing with a fundamental right, the right to free speech and the right to expression. And the government will have to state and prove and establish a compelling reason, which is rather difficult. So if you were to ask me, and this is something that I've been wanting to tell my colleagues, if we are to regulate, let's regulate the social media platforms. Mr. Chair, this afternoon, I would also like to report to the committee what has been going on in the past weeks. Actually, in the past TRICOM meetings, I have been proposing the establishment of a Digital Council of the Philippines. To recall, it is similar to the Kapisanan ng mga broadcasters of the Philippines, to be formed among the stakeholders themselves by associations and groups of content creators, as well as the digital advertisers, as well as digital marketing firms, as well as the Global AI Council, as well as members of the academe, rather, because the idea was to make the Digital Council of the Philippines a medium by which we can educate the public, in particular the youth, on the responsible use of social media and, most importantly, critical thinking. We also wanted representation from the DICT in the Digital Council of the Philippines, as well as the NBI and the PNP. So the idea is basically self-regulation. It has worked for the advertising world when commercials are submitted to the scrutiny of the Ad Standards Council to see, based on their own code of ethics and standards, if the commercials are fair and true. So, depende po sa findings ng Ad Standards Council of the Philippines, ay aaprubahan ng isang commercial o hindi. Sa kapisanan ng broadcasters ng Pilipinas naman, sa aking pagkakaunawa, ito po ay hindi government-controlled. Ito po ay self-regulating. And they came up with their own code of ethics and standards, which is to be followed by its members. And they also have their own redress system. And to my knowledge, the Kapisanan ng mga broadcasters in Filipinas also acts as a guild of sorts for its members, to give its members legal assessment and counseling, as well as legal assistance in case any of its members encounter, I don't know, a lawsuit or something in that like. Or as a group, as a guild, because there is strength in unity, it could use its position to leverage if there is something they have to negotiate with the government. So, going back to the Digital Council of the Philippines, in the past weeks I have met with the CICP, I have met with the Global AI Council. I also met with the Digital Marketing Association of the Philippines. And they are all in agreement that they would rather that they form their own council and that they come up with their own code of ethics and standards than being regulated by the government. Now, you may ask me, para pa tayo entonces nag-investigation? Well, as I said, the regulation should come with regards to the social media platforms. Okay. Kasi mukhang interesado si Vice President Noli de Castro, I will briefly explain kung anong functions itong Digital Council of the Philippines. Yun na nga, unang-unang kailangan meron siyang ma-formulate na code of ethics and standards to be followed by its members. Number 2, ito po ang mag-serve as a vehicle to address complaints of victims of fake news. It has a technical means. Ito po yung parang konseho na magsusuri at magfa-fact check kung ang isang complaint ay may basihan, kung tunay na biktima ang isang grupo ng isang scam or isang businessman ng isang scam o kaya ng isang government agency, ng isang fake news, and it will come up with its findings. So what do we do with the findings of the Digital Council of the Philippines? Pag nalaman po niya at napagtanto ng isang piece of information ay walang basihan at fake, ito po ay ifa-flag niya at sasabihin doon sa social media platform. Para po, by law, ang social media platform will be obliged and required to flag a certain piece of information as fake or to take it down, which is already being practiced by TikTok, to my knowledge, and also by some other social media platforms that have community annotations, community notes, no, na nagsasabi itong information na to ay lacking information o ito'y walang basihan. So this is a way of administering justice without stepping on the constitutional right to freedom of speech or expression. Kasi sa laban po sa fake news, ang kalaban po natin talaga dyan, syempre, of course, is the piece of news itself. Ako po ay naniniwala kapag ang isang piece of information ay walang matibay na pundasyon na nakapatong at nakasalalay sa katotohanan, ito po ay babagsak. Pero kailangan nga lang ho ay mag-cooperate ang ating mga social media platforms. Maaring tanong po ng iba dyan, paano mo ma-ensure na lahat ng content creators na magiging miyembro nitong Digital Council? Pero hindi po ito ang pangarap ng Digital Council of the Philippines. Kahit hindi ikaw ang miyembro ng Digital Council of the Philippines, kapag ang isang piece of information na generate mo ay nireklamo dahil wala itong batayan, ay mafa-flag ito at madedetect ng Digital Council. At eventually, if we pass a law that would require social media platforms to adhere to the findings, recommendations, instructions of the Digital Council, ay mafa-flag ito as fake and it could be taken down. At syempre, kung ako naman ang content creator, kung sa 10 pieces of information na gine-generate ko, siyam ay nafa-flag as fake, edi parang humukay na rin ako ng sarili kong libingan as a content creator. I shall have lost my credibility and whatever is left of my moral authority to actually express my opinion over social media. So, Mr. Chair, may I be given the chance to interpolate some of our resource persons?
Congressman Geraldine, I thought that you're going to ask question to Noli.
Okay.
So
May I ask
we are tackling the issues one by one. The fourth issue will be the social media influencers. So
May
I think you reserve your question dun sa social media. The resource person that we are now asking question to is former Vice President Noli De Castro.
May I have the pleasure of interpolating our former Vice President and fellow journalist,
Yes po.
Noli De Castro. Kumusta po kayo, Mr.
Mabuti
Vice
po,
President?
mabuti po.
Yes. Kayo po bilang isang mamamahayag, gaano nyo pinahahalagahan ang ating constitutional right to free speech and expression?
Of course, kami yung mga broadcaster, tayong mga broadcast journalists, mahalaga po siyempre ang constitutional rights natin to free speech, freedom of speech. Number one ho yun. Pero, as a broadcaster din po, sinabi niya sa kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, during our seminars, way back, ang ini-instill sa aming utak ay maging responsible journalist. Responsible on the air. That means, ang sasabihin namin ay may batayan, may source, sabi nga ninyo, ay titindig yung mga balita. Kahit sinong komisyon ay nakatindig yung mga balita, may mga patunay. So, yun, responsible journalist. I remember that, I cannot forget that, be a responsible journalist.
Mr. Chair, maidagdag ko pa po, kayo po ba ay kasapi ng kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas? Yes po.
Automatic po yun.
At meron po ba kayong sinusundang Code of Ethics and Standards sa loob po ng KBP?
Meron din po. Maliban doon sa Code of Ethics namin sa ABS-CBN.
Okay, meron din sila sa ABS-CBN.
Opo.
Ngayon po, sa inyong karanasan, meron na ba kayong na-encounter na isang kasapi ng KBP na hindi tumalima sa inyong Code of Ethics and Standards?
Well, unang-una ho, hindi na kinakailangan dumaan pa sa KBP pag may ganon. Yung mismong station ang nagdidisiplina sa kanya tungkol diyan. Kasi kumisan, inaamin ko rin naman na may mga broadcaster na may mga political leanings. Lalo na ho ngayon, malapit ng eleksyon. So, meron ding mga broadcaster ang nagagamit ng ilang mga, well, of course, kandidato dahil sa malapit ng eleksyon for monetary reason.
Yes po,
Opo.
Mr. Chair. Kung sakali po, yung mismong radio station ay kakonsyaba noong, I don't know, ng isang politiko, paano yon? Ina-apply po ba sa ganitong instance
Iyon lang
yung
ho.
Code of Ethics at saka standards ng KBP?
Iyon lang. Baka ho mamaya ay utos din ng istasyon.
Opo. Pero po, ang sabihin ko, doon po, meron po bang in that case, i-apply ang KBP?
Meron dapat to magreklamo ang isang kandidato sa kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Okay po. Mr. Chair, nais ko rin tanungin si Vice President Noli de Castro at ito ay related sa kanyang karanasan bilang mamamahayag. Kung kayo po ang tatanungin, gusto niyo po ba magkaroon ng ahensya ng pamahalaan na magre-regulate ng content o kaya ng balita na inyong binibigay?
Medyo pumapasok ko doon yung freedom of expression freedom of speech. Doon pumapasok.
So, sa madalit salita po, Mr. Chair, hindi kayo sang-ayon.
Hindi ho, pero pwedeng i-regulate to in some sense. Hindi ho yung pure regulation.
Yes. Mr. Chair, for the information of our resource persons and my colleagues, there is already a law that actually addresses the problem within the world of journalism. And this is the 2012 Cyber Libel Act. Basically, we have the freedom of speech and expression. But there's just like any other right, this is not absolute.
Absolute.
The state can regulate in order to protect public interest. But in regulating the freedom of speech, which is a basic constitutional right, it has the obligation to use the least restrictive means. At may dadagdag ko pa po, pagdating po dito sa pag-regulate ng free speech, it's parang, it's a lost cause basically. Kasi iko-question talaga yan sa Supreme Court. Ganun po ang mangyayari. So may tanong ko po sa inyo, Ms. Kabayan, na pakinggan niyo po briefly yung aking sinasuggest na Digital Council of the Philippines. Kumbaga ito parang self-regulatory, pero magfa-fact check din po siya. Tapos, yung findings niya ay ipapasa po doon sa different social media platforms katulad ng Facebook, ng Instagram, ng X, ng TikTok. At nakabase po doon sa findings, pwede po nilang i-flag, pwede po nilang i-take down yung content.
So, in other words, ang naturang mga platforms ay member din ng Digital Council
Yes
of the
po,
Philippines.
maaari po silang member ng Digital Council of the Philippines. At yun nga ho, sinasangguni ko na maaari po tayong magkaroon ng isang batas para obligahan itong mga social media platforms na i-flag itong mga pieces of information na matutuklasan na fake.
Opo, dahil malaga po ang sa hearing ho kanina at yung mga guests mula sa Meta, importante talaga ho yung mga platforms na sila ang mag-control, or mag-monitor ng mga lumalabas sa iba't ibang platform nila.
Yes po. Mr. Chair, matanong ko rin po kay Kabayan Noli de Castro, naobserbahan niyo po ba na depende kung ano yung social media platform, ay maaaring silang magkaroon ng parang community guidelines sa isa na kakaiba doon sa iba. Kumbaga, Facebook meron siyang sariling guidelines, ang Twitter may sarili siyang guidelines. Sa inyo pang karanasan at obserbasyon ay nakikita niyo po itong ganitong sitwasyon.
Well, nakikita ko dito halos pare-pareho lang ang mga ang Twitter, ang Facebook, ang Instagram, pare-pareho din ng nilalaman nila.
Opo. Ang content po nila and the way they disseminate
Oo.
information, Mr.
Opo.
Chair.
Opo.
But for the information of everybody, in the past 3 TRICOMs, we have already established na minsan, katulad ng TikTok, meron siyang redress system. Pwede po niya i-take down yung news. minsan nakakalusot nga lang ho. At yung fact-checking, hindi naman po ginagampanan din ng Facebook. Parang i-report po ang isang piece of information, paramihan po ng report. Kahit totoo na po yung news, pero natalo ka sa dami ng trolls ng kabilang kampo o kaya ng kabilang bando, iti-take down ito. So it's not really on the basis of what is true or what is fair. It is on the basis of gaano karami kang magre-report, di ba? Parang popularity contest. So ito po ang problema nga natin. So with that, Mr. Chair, I would like to conclude by asking, would you agree to the idea of a digital council of the Philippines?
Yes po, Congressman. Itong Digital Council of the Philippines, just like kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, ito ho ang maaring, kasi sabi nga ninyo ay hindi ho tayo pwedeng maglabas ng batas dahil makikwestiyon hanggang Supreme Court. So itong Digital Council of the Philippines, ang pinaka mabilis na maaring kumestyon sa mga content providers na lumalabas, lalong-lalo na ang mga fake news.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. I would just like to conclude by reiterating my stand against fake news. It is really alarming. It is appalling.
Yes, of course.
Appalling is an understatement, in fact. Nakakainis na po talaga. It's really annoying. Especially na ngayon, maraming political developments, it's election time, iba-ibang paninira. And I have also observed, it is also, katulad ng isang araw lang, meron akong isang constituent na halos mabiktima ng perang scam. Ginamit ang deep fake ni Mr. Ramon Ang, as well as ni Katunying. And they were actually trying to sell this pyramid scheme. And alam nyo naman, not everybody can exercise or has the ability to exercise critical thinking. At minsan, dahil sa kahirapan na rin ng buhay, ay kumakapit sa patalim, sinasakyan ito mga scam, gini-give up ang kanilang, at nawawala ang kanilang hard-earned money. Not only that, itong nakaraang weekend nga rin, maraming mga fake news na lumalabas. And kahit anong ginagawa na positibo ng ating pamahalaan ay nalulunod sa dagat ng fake news. And this situation cannot be tolerated. This is the hope of this humble representation, that we can come up with regulation that will effectively control the spread of fake news while respecting our basic constitutional right to freedom of speech. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Franz Castro is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon, kabayan. So, yung iba naman natanong na ni Geraldine. Yung tungkol doon sa ang mga broadcaster po ay regulated, self-regulation sila, di ba? And regulated din po kayo ng KBP at saka ng station. Kasi meron nung isang hearing, Mr. Chair, na dito, vlogger siya at the same time, meron din siyang station. No? Meron din daw siyang parang network na kinabibilangan. So, di ba, Mr. Chair, may mga broadcaster din, journalist, na nagiging vlogger. So, paano po ba ito nare-regulate? Kasi itong vlogger na to, halimbawa, broadcaster siya, pero may mga disinformation or fake news. Nire-regulate din ba ito ng station o yung network na kinabibilangan niya, kabayan?
Dapat po, kasi kung mga fake news ang sinasabi niya, at hindi lang once, twice, or thrice, dapat ay kumilos na ang istasyon or even ang kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Okay, so nag-a-announce ba ang network na may mga ganitong disciplinary doon sa mga broadcaster at the same time vlogger na nagbibigay ng disinformation?
Normally ho, ang aking experience ay sinasabihan lang ho sila
Okay.
to stop yung ginagawa niya.
At nagko-correct. Tama po ba?
Dapat i-correct
Dapat
niya.
kino-correct, no,
Oo.
yung mga disinformation.
Kasi kung hindi niya i-correct, paulit-ulit na siya sasabihan or until isuspindi siya.
Okay. Kahit na po ito ay information, dapat po kung meron siyang sasabihin na opinion, ay dapat nakabase pa rin sa facts.
Sa tamang impormasyon.
Yes, sa
Opo.
tamang information.
Opo.
Pangalawa, Mr. Chair, ito syempre, kanina sinasabi natin na hindi naman maiwasan na yung isang broadcaster o kahit na kayo po kabayan, meron kayong sariling opinyon
Opo.
sa mga bagay-bagay. So, paano nyo po yun masasabi? I mean, di ba, freedom of expression, pero kung kayo po ay nakapaloob sa, sa isang network, na halimbawa may political leaning, paano po nyo ma-express yung inyo pong sa programa ninyo?
Well, sa akin pong experience, hindi ko po tinitingnan yung kung ano man political leaning ng istasyon. Ang sa akin po ay kung ano aking opinion, kung ano ang tama, yun ang sinasabi ko. Wala pa naman ako na-experience na sinabihan ako ng istasyon, oy, medyo hinay-hinay ka dahil yung ating boss ay iba ang political leaning. Wala pa naman akong ganong experience.
Dahil ang human being po, Mr. Chair, ay socially and politically charged. Siyempre, meron siyang sariling opinion. So, naniniwala kayo na among broadcasters, journalists, wala naman talagang sinasabing neutral. Tama po. Kasi meron din kayo talagang sariling choice, political opinion, etc.
Opo, talagang meron ho kami.
Okay. So, gusto ko lang sabihin, Mr. Chair, kasi katulad din sa teacher, experience ng teacher, na yung mga teacher kasi, minsan, minomonitor yan ng mga kanilang superiors. Kaya, syempre, ang mga teachers dapat din nagpapahayag ng sarili nilang experience or sarili nilang pong choices, etc. So, katulad din po yan ng mga broadcasters, though, meron po silang tinatawag na regulation. So, ano pa rin po, Mr. Chair, above all pa rin yung freedom of expression. Thank you po.
Maraming salamat, Nor Franz Castro. Mr. Vice President, mukhang wala na yatang magtatanong na congressman. Pero bago po kayo umalis, meron lang akong katanungan out of curiosity sake. Hindi pa niyo sinubukang alamin kung sino ito mang nagpakalat ng fake news sa inyo?
Hindi na po, Mr. Chair, Kasi karaniwan naman hindi tunay na pangalan na ginagamit nila Oo. Although, nag-isip sana akong lumapit na ako sa NBI kung hindi siya hihinto. Pero huminto naman ho nung sagutin ko na sa pamagitan ng paglalagay ng bold letter nga na fake.
Madalas po ba kayo ginagawa ng fake news?
Well, pag ganito malapit ng eleksyon.
Pero pag walang eleksyon, hindi ka na kayo ginagawa.
Medyo tahimik ko sila.
Pero sa tingin nyo, Vice President, bakit kayo ginagawa ng fake news? Meron ho bang galit sa inyo?
Hindi naman siguro being a radio and television personality, nakikita nila na kapag akong ginamit,
Mukhang sisikat sila.
yes, parang gano'n parang gano'n Pati nga, sorry to say this pati nga yung utot ho binibintang sa akin.
Hindi.
Nag-viral ho yun
Hindi. Sikat ho talaga kayo You're well known all over the country. So probably some of these, I would say, bloggers are taking advantage of your popularity.
Maybe,
Ika nga, ginagamit kayo para
Opo.
naman sila maging popular din po.
Well, sabay na ho yun. Sabay na yun. Kaya lang ho, hindi ako kumikita, sila ang kumikita.
Hindi, kumikita naman po kayo doon sa broadcasting. Last tanong ko po, yung ganyang fake news, hindi po ba kayo nasasaktan? Hindi po ba kayo nagagalit?
Hindi naman po Hindi ako tinatablan Hindi ako tinatablan po.
Hindi kayo naapektuhan, kagaya noon, na pinagbintangan kayo na hindi kayo bumoto kay PRD, bumoto kayo o yung sinabihan patay na po kayo, hindi ba kayo nadidepress o
hindi ho.
nagagalit?
Hindi po kasi nasasagot ka agad. Yun ang advantage ho namin, nasasagot namin kaagad bilang isang broadcaster. Oo. Pero sa pangkaraniwan tao nga po, sabi ko nga, baka mahihirapan nung sila dahil hindi kaagad nila masasagot. Wala silang means para masagot kaagad.
Alam nyo, Vice President, you're very well known sa broadcasting industry. and I believe that you are liked by the people around the broadcast industry. Pero nakikita mo kahit na magandang ang ikangang image mo sa broadcaster industry, wala ka namang kinakalaban, wala ka nang kinakaway, pero meron talagang mga tao na gusto lang talagang sirain ang isang tao, hindi po ba?
Kahit kayong mga congressmen, ganun din.
Lalo na po kami, lalo
Opo.
na po ngayong eleksyon.
Kahit maganda ang ginagawa ninyo, dahil sa mga fake news ngayon, iba ay palalabas nila.
Sabi niyo kanina, hindi kayo naapektuhan kahit na anong fake news ipalabaso ninyo. Ano bang pwede niyong i-advise sa amin? Kasi kami naapektuhan minsan eh.
Ay sagutin ka agad dun nyo.
Ganun po ba?
Sagutin ka agad.
So, kailangan sagutin ho namin.
Opo, na may mga kaibigan naman ho kayong may mga YouTube din, may mga Facebook, gaya ng ginagawa ko nga ho, bold letter, at kung minsan nagpa-plus pa, fake. Tapos pinakikiusap ko ho sa mga kaibigan na ipakalat. Yan o. Kasi hindi naman kayo pwedeng o kaya, tumawag ho kayo sa mga broadcaster, sa mga broadcast journalist. At ipakiusap nyo kung pwedeng ma-interview kayo para ipaliwanag nyo itong lumabas na balita. Siguradong tatanggapin naman po kayo. Basta open lagi po. Yan ang pinakikiusap ko sa mga government agencies na open lagi sila kapag may lumalabas na balita. Kasi kung minsan ho ay kumakalat na yung balita ng mali, hindi ka agad nasasagot ng mga government agencies.
Sa tingin po ninyo, kailangan ng Kongreso gumawa ng batas para mapigilan ang paglaganap nito mga fake news, para naman maprotektahan yung mga reputasyon ng mga tao. Kasi nakita naman ho ninyo, marami yung mga personalidad nasira rin ng reputasyon because of fake news. Tingin nyo, kailangan ho natin gumawa ng batas?
Baka ho magandang pag-aralan nitong kay Congressman na Digital Council of the Philippines. Para lahat ng Facebook, YouTube, member ho dito, para kung meron ng reklamo tungkol sa mga post na hindi maganda o hindi totoo, may papasok agad dito sa Digital Council of the Philippines. Kasi po, I don't know, Congressman, Mr. Chairman, baka ho kumisan pag may batas, napapalusutan pa ho eh.
Tama po.
Palusot pa ho pa sa batas. Umaabot ho hanggang sa Supreme Court. Baka ho dito, baka makatulong itong pag-aralan ho nating mabuti ang Digital Council of the Philippines. Baka ho mas may ngipin ho ito para mapigilan ang pagkalat ho ng fake news.
Actually, Mr. Vice President, pagkatapos po nitong hearing na to, meron na ho kaming mga proposed legislations
Opo.
to counter this fake news. So hindi na po ako magtatagal, Mr. Vice President. In behalf ng committee, maraming salamat po sa presensya ninyo. Pwede na po kayo ma-excuse po.
Opo.
Kasi we'll now proceed to the next issue, which is yung kay Commodore Tarjela, and after that, the social media personalities. But before that, I noticed dito sa mga resource persons na inimbita, some of these, I believe, wala nang pong question yung ibang mga congressmen dito ngayon. Some of the resource persons were requested to be invited by some congressmen who are not present. Sila po may gustong tanong. So, are there any questions for SWS rating survey company? May question ba, mga congressmen? Wala? So, dito po kaninang SWS, hindi po ba? So, I believe that there are no questions. Actually, there was one congressman, I will not mention anymore, who requested you to be present. Also, Pulse Asia, and then yung ibang mga survey firms. But he's not around, so the congressmen are not inclined to ask questions to you unless you have a statement to make.
None, Mr. Chair.
Okay, you are now excused.
Thank you.
Itong broadsheets din, andito po ba ang Philippine Star, Daily Inquirer? Nandito po ba? Wala. Okay. So we'll now proceed with the next item on the agenda, which is the issue of Commodore Tariela. Do you have any statement to make?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I
Okay.
prepared the presentation.
Okay, let us proceed with the presentation. Afterwards, the first to interpolate will be Congressman Ernest Junicio.
Mr. Chair, can I proceed?
Pakilapit lang po yung mikropono.
Mr. Chair, can I proceed already?
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Isang magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Sa loob po ng 2 taon, nagsimula po ang ating administrasyon sa pagpapublicize ng mga insidente na nangyayari sa West Philippine Sea, ay nakita po natin ang mataas na bilang ng pagtaas ng fake news and disinformation and misinformation pagdating sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. Sa loob po ng 2 taon na inanalyze po namin ang mga fake news, peddlers, and trolls na nagpapakalat ng maling informasyon. According to our analysis, we can actually came up with 3 levels of fake news purveyors in terms of social media platforms. The first one is what we call the initiators. Ito po ang mga kilala po nating social media influencers na nagbibigay ng maling impormasyon pagdating sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. On the later part of my presentation, I will discuss what are those information that they are using to counter the factual narrative of the Philippine government. At the same time, the initiators have high number of followers. Marami po silang followers sa different social media platforms, whether sa X, sa Facebook, sa Instagram, or sa TikTok. Sila po ang kinikilala nating mas known figure pagdating sa pagpapakalat ng maling impormasyon. We call them initiators because if we're going to trace the misinformation and fake news about West Philippine Sea, sila ang pinakaunang mga tao na nagpakalat ng maling impormasyon na to. The next level is what we call the disseminators. Gaya po ng sinabi ni Kabayan Noli de Castro, marami po tayong trolls sa social media na soulless account. Alam po nating wala silang totoong identity, newly created ang account, but these disseminators are being used by the initiators to spread this initiated information na mali. Sila po ay walang kilalang known network, but they are used only to spread this misinformation and fake news about the West Philippine Sea. And then the third one is what we call the reposters. Ito po mga reposters ay kapwa po natin mga Pilipino. Maaaring sila po ay sumusuporta lamang kay initiator o meron silang sinusuportahan na politiko na umaayon dito sa narrative na ito na mali naman. And then the last level is what we call the general public. The general public is actually the victim of the disinformation and fake news in the social media. Dahil po sa mga maling impormasyon na ito na ipinapakalat sa West Philippine Sea, ay nahahati po ang opinyon ng ating mga kababayang Pilipino. Minsan po naniniwala silang walang West Philippine Sea, minsan naniniwala silang tayo ay inuudyukan lamang ng Amerika, minsan sila ay naniniwala na ang gobyerno mismo ang gumugulo pagdating sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. Next slide, sir. Ngayon, ang tanong po ay who are these initiators? No? Gaya po ng sinabi ko kanina, the initiators are the ones who start the conversation. They are the ones who spread the initial fake news and misinformation. At ang account nila ay may mataas na bilang ng follower. At most of the time, the initiators are known or recognized na social media influencer. At ang posting nila sa social media are always publicly posted. Hindi po ito nalilimit lamang sa kanilang mga followers or friends. Intentionally, their postings are made public so that it can be easily shared ng kanilang mga disseminators at ng kanilang mga followers. Next slide. The initiator social media lines. Over the course of time and analyzing the lines of these initiators who spread fake news in the West Philippine Sea, it can actually be divided into 6 parts. Ang una sa lahat is yung sinasabi nilang, we do not have legal basis in our fight in the West Philippine Sea. Ilang beses na po nating narinig yan. Later, I will discuss all of this, how they make use of these lines as a way for them to mislead the Filipino people. Second, ang West Philippine Sea ay hindi natin primary concern. Ito daw ay hindi dumudugtong sa sikmura ng ordinaryong Pilipino, kung kaya't ang ordinaryong Pilipino ay hindi dapat makialam sa isyu ng West Philippine Sea. Pangatlo, Philippines is one escalating the tension in the West Philippine Sea. Sinasabi po nila na ang Coast Guard or BFAR or other agencies of the government are the ones responsible for the escalation of tension in the West Philippine Sea. At ang pang-apat po is the fear-mongering, ang pananakot po sa ating mga kababayang Pilipino na kapag patuloy nating tinindigan ang laban natin sa West Philippine Sea, ay magkakaroon po ng gera. At ang panglima po, ang Philippines is only dictated by the United States. Ilang beses na rin po nating narinig ito na ang nangyayari sa West Philippine Sea ay galing lamang po sa pag-uudyok ng Estados Unidos. And the last part is that the West Philippine Sea spokesperson, kasama ko po si Jonathan Malaya at ang iba pong mga akademya na dumidepensa sa paninindigan natin sa West Philippine Sea, has always been a victim of disinformation and fake news. Next slide, sir. For their line na we do not have legal basis, paulit-ulit po nilang sinasabi na ang West Philippine Sea is just a fiction. Ito po ay gawa-gawa lamang daw nung panahon ni Pangulong Noynoy Aquino at wala naman daw po tayong basihan. Secondly, they always downplay the 2016 Arbitral Award. Hina-highlight nila na despite of the 2016 Arbitral Award, which is internationally recognized as a landmark victory for the Philippine government, they always downplay this, saying it is very difficult for this current administration to get the support of the international community because it cannot be reinforced. The second one is, we're the one escalating the tension. Kung makikita po natin ang mga posting ng mga tao na to, lagi nilang ang sinisisi ay ang Philippine Coast Guard. Kami daw po ang bumangga sa China Coast Guard. Kami daw po ang dahilan kung nagdala ng maing isda doon, kaya nagkaroon ng gulo sa Baho de Masinloc. Instead of criticizing the aggression and unlawful activity of the Chinese Coast Guard, Philippine Coast Guard po ang nilalagay nila sa kanilang mga posts trying to distort the reality of what's really happening in the West Philippine Sea. Next slide, sir. At ang narrative na ang Pilipinas po ay inuudyukan lamang ng Amerika. Ito po ay paulit-ulit din nilang sinasabi, ang West Philippine Sea ay gawa-gawa lamang daw po ng Amerikano. Ang Amerika din daw po ang nagdikta ng naratibo natin pagdating sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. At ang kanila pong favorite line, the transparency initiative of the Philippine government is actually dictated by Mr. Ray Powell, na paulit-ulit din binabanggit ni Mr. Mark Lopez sa kanyang social media posts. And then the next one is, West Philippine Sea spokesmen are pro-US and accepting bribes. I have been a victim of disinformation and fake news. Sinabi nilang CIA ako, sinabi nilang pro-US ako, sinabi nilang pumunta ako sa bahay ni Speaker at meron daw akong 3 black bag. Sinabi rin nilang tumatanggap ako ng $4 million as part of my talent fee sa US Embassy. Panglima po, WPS is not our primary concern. They are confusing the Filipino people by saying poverty is the main issue of the Filipino people and not the West Philippine Sea. Kanila pong binibigyan ng confusion ulit ang mga kababayan natin para sabihin they should not care about our fight in the West Philippine Sea. And then the last one, sir, is fear-mongering. There will be war. Ilang beses na po nating narinig ito sa ating mga social media trolls. Sinasabi nilang kapag patuloy na pinanindigan ang ating laban sa West Philippine Sea, ay maraming mamamatay na Pilipino, Hindi kaya ng Armed Forces of the Philippines na tindigan ang pakikipaglaban sa China. Pero simula po na naging Pangulo si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, for almost 3 years now, he has been standing firm of not surrendering a square inch of our territory to any foreign power. Pero wala naman po tayong digmaan na naririnig pa. And then the last one, sir. Next slide. Next slide. Kung makikita po natin ang posting netong tinatawag nating mga initiators, there are actually 3 intersection points na common sa kanila. Una, they always counter our position in the West Philippine Sea. Secondly, kung titingnan din po natin ang posting nila, they also defend Alice Go and the Pogo. Third, they are also denying the presence of Chinese spies na nahuli ng NBI noong mga nakaraang buwan. Just to give you an example, I would like to share with you the posting of certain Miss Ana Malindog Uy. I am not saying that she is the one really managing this expose because I don't know her personally, but this is actually a public post. She said, with regard to Pogo, ano daw ang sabi ni DASA, upgraded ang Pogo seriously last August 6, 2024. She also commented, investigasyon ng Kongreso sa issue ng Pogo, nakakahiya. And then when it comes to the issue of the spies, last January 29, 2025, she also posted, do we really think that a superpower like China would send someone unqualified to spy on the Philippines? And when it comes to the harassment of the Chinese Coast Guard, she also said, study the footage carefully and draw your own conclusion. Note the time that when the collision happened, according to the reports and based on the footage, the Philippine Coast Guard ship MRB 4410 suddenly turned right and rammed into the Chinese Coast Guard. Again, she is actually narrating a narrative that it is the Philippine Coast Guard who rammed the China Coast Guard vessel. Miss Ana Malindog Uy, I don't know her, but again, these are public posts. And I would also like to share to the Honorable Committee the article written by Mr. Ado Paglinawan. He also wrote about Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo, suggesting that she is being disgracefully grilled by the senators. And when it comes to the spies, he also wrote an article 2 months ago saying that it's a mistaken identity is a result of sheer incompetence. And when it comes to the issue of the West Philippine Sea, publicly posted last February 27, he said the West Philippine Sea lunacy continues as China Coast Guard simply ignores our cheers. These are the types of the issues that I would like to present to the Honorable Committee, sir, to highlight that the issue of disinformation and fake news is actually countering our own position in the West Philippine Sea. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
We'll now proceed to the interpellation. Ernest Dionisio, representative, is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to our colleagues. Commodore J. Tariela, magandang hapon po sa inyo. And thank you very much for the detailed presentation. Actually, marami po akong tatanungin sa inyo, supposedly, but it was already answered by most of the questions na tatanungin, nasagot na po ng presentation ninyo. Commodore J, alam ko yung laban nyo sa West Philippine Sea eh. I would see you in the news, yung mga fake news naman na kayo yung dinidiin pa na masama. Yung masakit kasi dito, Mr. Chair, kung sino na yung nilulusob, sino na yung inaargabyado, yung pa may kasalanan. This has to stop. So, Mr. Chair, just like to ask a few more questions kay Commodore J. Commodore J, ito bang ano bang talagang diferensya sa opinion ninyo yung pagkakaiba ng opinion sa fake news?
Mr. Chair? Well, para sa akin po, Honorable Congressman, sir, no? Ang usapin po ng West Philippine Sea should not be subjected to your own opinion. Actually, as part of the transparency initiative of the Philippine government, we have been disclosing factual reports, no? Incidents that really happened, supported by photos and videos to show the Filipino people what really transpired. So if you are a blogger or a social media influencer, trying to counter such narrative, I think we should understand everybody is entitled for their own opinion, but countering a factual narrative of what really transpired with regard to our own national security is really a concern.
Yes, thank you for that. Mr. Chair, kasi yung West Philippine Sea, in my humble opinion, di lang naman kasi to geographic location, it's a symbol of our sovereignty. If I remember it correctly, Commodore J, di ba, nung last hearing natin, meron pa nga na nagkiklaim na lumalabas sa mga fake news na yung Palawan pagmamayari ng China. Tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's very alarming, Mr. Chair, lahat ng nangyayari na to eh. So, alam ko nag-imbestiga na kayo dito, Sir Commodore J. Ano po ba mga naobserbahan nyo? You mentioned kanina mga initiators. Ano ba to? Mga Pilipino ba to? Chinese? Or we don't know for certain?
Well, right now, Mr. Chair, what we have are only public posting of social media accounts. Just like what the former Vice President mentioned, we cannot really ascertain whether these people are the ones managing those accounts dahil hindi naman talaga natin alam kung sila yon.
Mr. Chair, may nabanggit po kanina na si Ana Malindogoy.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Do we know, Mr. Chair, does this committee have any information na bisita po ba natin siya ngayon or Filipino vlogger po ba to? Or...
Sino? Si Mark Lopez?
Hindi po, si Ana Malindogoy, mentioned by Commodore Tariela earlier, Mr. Chair.
Comsec, did we invite this personality? Unfortunately, she was not included. Is that a female?
Yes, Mr.
She
Chair.
was not included in the invitation to the resource persons.
Maybe,
Where was there?
thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe it would be prudent since Commodore Tariela mentioned some posts that are very detrimental for our sovereignty and for the safety and security for our country, that probably this individual, be it true or not, we can try to find out through the committee and have this person invited and probably shed more light to the posts that was shared by Commodore Tariela, Mr. Chair.
Comsec, please take note. This individual will be invited for the next hearing.
Moving on, Mr. Chair, yung 2016, as mentioned by Commodore Tariela, yung arbitral award. In my humble opinion, ito napakalinaw na eh, na pagmamayari ng bansa natin, yung kinokontest ng ibang bansa eh. What I don't understand is, bakit kinokontra pa to? Commodore Tariela, ang gusto ko lang malaman, meron po ba tayong specific Filipinos identified who are, you know, masasabi natin na pro-China?
Well, Mr. Chair, if we're going to base on the social media posting of what they, how they appreciate the 2016 Arbitral Award and how they downplay our fight in the West Philippine Sea, I would say that they are really going against our national security and that they are not pro-Philippines, Mr. Chair. However, I would also like to add that what is difficult for us on the Philippine Coast Guard is that we cannot really identify whether these people who are using such accounts are those actual people named with that social media account, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I would like to request that all the information that has been presented by Commodore Tariela, also yung mga vloggers na hindi naman natin ma-determine kung tao ba o Pilipino ba, baka makuha natin yung mga handle nila and maybe NBI or someone from our government can really check. Mr. Chair, this has to stop. We have to find out who these people are. Okay, baka mga Chinese to o kung hindi man, baka mga Pilipino na napinagkakalulo yung bansa natin. This has to stop. This is the reason why we have this hearing, you know, to shed light and to stop the fake news na nakaka-apekto na doon sa sovereignty ng ating bansa, Mr. Chair. Also, nakakabagabag kanina yung presentation ni Commodore Tariela na hindi lang pala West Philippine Sea, na nagduduktong-duktong din to doon sa Pogo. O, nadinidepensahan pa nila, na naduduktong pa doon kay Alice Guo, na allegedly, na spy, na, you know, ang narrative nila all about pro-China eh. So, Mr. Chair, na again, kay Commodore Tariela, kung hindi naman kalabisan sa inyo, please give this committee a copy of all the information that has been gathered by on your side sa Philippine Coast Guard, and we will try to dig deeper and find out who these people are and put a stop to it. It will also give guidance to us on the laws that we will be making to determine, Mr. Chair. Ito na nga yung pinag-uusapan last hearing tsaka ngayon eh. With what Congressman Rog was saying earlier, na importante talaga na naka-register yung mga tao sa account ng mga social media eh. Anyone can simply make an account, gagawa ng false claims kung ano-ano, tapos ini-influence yung mga Pilipino. But I do believe Filipinos are very smart at walang Pilipinong tunay na magkakalulo. Ang hindi ko maintindihan, kung meron man, ano bang reason nila? Is it political or is it because of monetary gains? But there should be no Filipino na dapat ipagpapalit mo yung bansa mo para sa mga idol nyong politiko o para lamang sa pera, kapalit ang sovereignty at security ng ating bansa. This has to stop. So again, Mr. Chair, may I manifest that we really have to find out who these people are. We will not stop. The committee will not stop. And again, ako lang, simple manifestation, Mr. Chair. To Filipino vloggers, minsan nakikarried away tayo sa mga nababasa natin o napapanood. Last hearing, tinanong ko yung mga vloggers natin. Sinabi naman nila na walang naniniwala sa kanila na ang Palawan parte ng China. Yun na pinapakalat online eh. Ako yayayain ko lang yung ibang vloggers natin, no? I know masipag kayo mag-post o gumawa ng iba't ibang content. Why not do a content that will protect our country? Why not do a content, meron kayong mga following eh, meron kayong mga taong naniniwala sa inyo. Isn't it prudent enough for a Filipino na kung gagawa ka na lang ng content mo, it's to fight for our country. Sometimes nalulungkot ako kay Commodore Tariela, tinitira pa ng ibang tao na tuta daw ng Amerika. Tapos yung Amerika minsan tinitira na yun daw may gusto ng gulo. No. Let's try to dig deep. Sino ba nang gugulo sa Pilipinas? Sino ba ang pumapasok? Sino ba ang agresor? Mr. Chair, enough is enough. Kami sa Tondo, mga batang Tondo, hindi kami papayag sa mga taong ganyan. So, Mr. Chair, again, I appeal, sana sa mga kaibigan nating vloggers, if you are true Filipinos, let's all work together. O i-prove natin na maka-Pilipino tayo at makabansa tayong Pilipinas. Labanan natin ang negative news ng China, and let's stand for our country. One flag, one country, and one Filipino. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, Honorable Pamante.
Gusto ko lang pong tanungin si Commodore Tariela kung sino yung mga vloggers niya. Can you identify those vloggers now? Isa lang ba o meron pang iba? Can you identify them?
Well, Mr. Chair, I cannot attribute it to the person, but what I can quote are the name of their handle account, social media handles. I cannot attribute it to a person, but I can attribute it to a social media account.
So, ano mong ibig sabihin?
Because as I said, Mr. Chair, hindi naman natin alam kung sila talaga yung may-ari na account, but alam ko na yung pangalan na account. Like for example, si Mr. Rugando Sasot. We don't know whether it is really him who is managing his social media account. The same thing with Ana Malindog Uy or Ado Paglinawan. Those names are known to be writing about pro-China narrative.
Well, Mr. Chair, why, Commodore, why don't we ask the NBI or the DICT to identify? Why? Why don't we ask them? Now, you keep on telling us about these things, and you're not telling us who the people are. So why don't you ask the NBI or the ICT to identify those people who they are? Because they can be identified. Oh, it's up to you because you're the one being bashed in this case. Perhaps even your statement here can even be treasonous. Why? Because these are Filipinos who are actually siding with China. Oh, saying things that are against our own sovereignty. So, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask to Commodore Tayela to ask the NBI and the ICT to finally identify these people. And if you do that, Mr. Chair, we're going to invite them here so they could be able to shed light to what they're saying. And also, let them realize that this committee is now crafting a bill that will regulate these things. Akala ba ng mga vloggers natin, malilibre sila lahat sa mga bagay na yan? No. There should be certain regulations on this, Mr. Chair. Do you know why? Because freedom of expression is not absolute.
Are there any further questions with regards to this issue from the members?
Mr. Chair, I would like to ask Commodore Tayela if he's willing to ask the NBI and or the ICT or the Department of Justice to finally identify these people.
Yes, Mr. Chair, on the part of my office, I will be forwarding the report and the post of those known social media influencers that we have identified that are countering the factual narrative of the Philippine government when it comes to the West Philippine Sea.
I believe we have the presence of the NBI resource persons. Andito po bang NBI? Ano mo nga yung anong pwedeng gawin dun?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to the members of our Congress. Actually, Mr. Chair, some of the personalities which was mentioned during the lecture of Commodore were already verified by our office. So, ang pagkakaintindi ko po kasi during his explanation is that he cannot attribute yung mga accounts doon sa real identity ng mga may-ari. And we can provide some, but for those other accounts po, totally dummy account po siya. And we cannot identify kung sino yung mga ano po niya, totoong nagmamayari. But for some of the accounts that were mentioned, there are real names and identities that were already identified by the NBI, and we could furnish this committee of those identities. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I suggest, Commodore, you coordinate with the NBI na lang regarding this
Yes,
matter.
Mr. Chair.
Are there any further questions regarding this issue?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thank you very much. Commodore Tariela, so kamakailan nabalitaan po namin at nakita namin sa telebisyon na muling nagkaroon ng enkwentro sa West Philippine Sea. Pwede mo po bang maikwento sa amin ang nangyari?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair? Yes. What transpired in the past 2 days, Mr. Chair, is that last April 5, the Philippine Coast Guard monitor the presence of China Coast Guard 3302 at a distance of 82 to 85 nautical miles off the coast of Palawig, Zambales. And because of that, the Commandant of the Philippine Coast Guard, Admiral Ronnie Hilgavan, directed BRP Cabra to challenge the presence of the China Coast Guard vessel. And last April 6, what happened, sir, is when the Philippine Coast Guard vessel was challenging this 99-meter vessel, which is relatively larger than the 44-meter vessel that we have, carried out a dangerous maneuver, attempting to, as if they are going to ram a smaller Coast Guard vessel. But thanks to the seamanship skills and the professionalism of the Coast Guard sailors of the Philippines, we were able to prevent from being rammed by the China Coast Guard. And just yesterday, sir, again, the China Coast Guard 3302 did another dangerous maneuver, attempting to ram the aft, which is the behind of the Philippine Coast Guard vessel, when we were also challenging them yesterday at a distance of 92 nautical miles off the coast of Capones Island, sir.
And the area is well within our special economic zone, no?
Yes, sir. That is well within our own exclusive economic zone.
Exclusive economic zone. And ako, Commodore, nung napanood ko po yung video sa TV the news, talagang nakaramdam ako ng konting galit. Kasi nakita ko yung isang dambuhalang Chinese vessel na palapit ng palapit habang pilit naman tumatakbo yung atin. Kasi nga baka mabangga at mukhang babanggain talaga. At buti na lang kamo, magaling yung ating mga seafarers nakaiwas. Kung hindi po nakaiwas, ilang kayang Pilipino maapektuhan kung dumating po sa punto na nabangga?
Well, we have to understand, sir, na ang barko na to is almost double the size of our BRP Cabra. So you can just imagine the impact nung bilis nung barko na yon sa pagbangga ng mas maliit na barko natin. Parang to describe it, parang isang Wigo na Toyota na kotse binangga ng isang 6x6 truck. So that is the reason why the Philippine Coast Guard has to run away for them not to be rammed by the China Coast Guard. Kung sakali pong nabangga tayo, definitely ang mga crew po ng Philippine Coast Guard vessel ay nasa harm's way na po. At tayo po ngayon siguro ang nagpapanik, how can we be able to rescue our Coast Guard personnel, sir?
At tunay pong nakakakulo ng dugo nung nakita ko po to kasi atin po yung lugar eh. Diba? Atin po yung lugar. At dito po sa hearing natin ngayon, napakahalaga po na ma-address po natin yung mga fake news na lumalabas laban sa issue ng West Philippine Sea. Because what I fear, Commodore, is due to the fake news, this might lead to Filipinos being misguided when it comes to properly understanding the issues of the West Philippine Sea. Do you agree with me when I say this, Commodore?
Yes, sir. I definitely agree with you, sir, that we need to address fake news and disinformation. Dahil kung tataas po ang bilang ng mga fake news and disinformation na yan with regard to the West Philippine Sea, mawawala na pong saysay ang paghihirap ng Armed Forces of the Philippines at ng Philippine Coast Guard na itinataya po nila ang buhay nila para po sa West Philippine Sea.
So sa isang bahagi, Commodore, would you agree with me when I say that maaaring isang strategiya to na ginagamit ng isang banyaga laban sa Pilipinas para magkaroon ng confusion sa ating mga mamamayan sa paglaganap ng fake news laban sa Pilipinas sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea?
Yes, sir. I definitely agree with you, sir, that most likely this is a state-sponsored misinformation tactic para gibain po ang pagkakaisa ng ating pong bansa pagdating sa pagtindig sa issue ng West Philippine Sea.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now to our vloggers present. Mr. Chairman, can I get a show of hands kung sino